I got it! When I first heard about Dave being trapped in a maze...
1, 2, 3, 4!
I built a labyrinth. Can you believe it?
Dave is trapped in a cardboard maze in his living room and he can't get out.
Welcome to Dave Made a Minute, the podcast where a whole bunch of us are exploring the film Dave Made a Maze 1 minute at a time. The twist. Many of the participants have never seen the film. Some don't even know what film they're sampling. They get their minutes and they tackle them as they see fit. Here's your host from the Groundhog Day Project and Michael Myers Minute, Robert Black.
Minute 61. Dave and Annie come to an understanding. Before we get to minute 61, how seeing her naked gets us to I Heard That in 4 parts. Part 3. I awoke in a panic just before 6 a.m., realizing in my sleep that I had not posted the entry. If you look at it on Blogspot, it was posted at 5:59 a.m. I made it. Well, I should explain. I skipped ahead. I'm sorry. So we left off. I had neglected to post a Groundhog Day Project entry that I had written the previous afternoon as a press release. And you know, one of the rules of the blog was that I posted by 6 a.m. and I went to sleep having, it just slipped my mind. And so I awoke in a panic just before 6. Anyway, flash forward to 2018 and how this 4-part kitchen counter episode block came to be put together the way you've been hearing it, with our guests from I Heard That. When I mostly randomized the minutes of Dave Made a Maze for the various participants, there were certain chapters I gave out deliberately. For example, I made sure the Groundhog Minute guys got to see Rick Overton. I made sure the Open the Podcast Doors Howl guys got to see the hexagonal alcove. I intended the rhyming minutes to go to someone in particular at first, but had to take those on myself when they became unavailable. There were 2 4-minute blocks that I was offering if someone volunteered up front for 4 episodes. Most people were taking 3. Some would end up doing more. Dave's interview, minutes 45 to 48, was one such block. This kitchen counter scene was another. The randomness and the explicit lack of knowledge about what was going on has made so many of the other minutes quite entertaining. But I thought these 2 sequences needed context, needed the participants for these minutes to be able to pay attention. So, this sequence went to one podcaster who I thought could make a good approach to them and their talk of relationships. A while later, that podcaster disappeared from the internet. Go figure. But now, on to minute 61 of Dave Made a Maze. To tackle minute 61, we have Liz Whitaker and George Hendricks of I Heard That.
You come home, there's a giant maze in your living room. You're like, what the? There's a giant maze in my living room. I've heard of people rearranging the furniture, but this is wackadoodle crazy. Give me a sense of that.
This doesn't make any sense.
Is that a problem? Is a promise to my segment? My solution's a problem.
It's like a fucking cocktail party in here.
I get a few words from you before you go.
Hello, and welcome to Dave Made a Maze, brought to you by the host of I Heard That, Georgia and Liz.
Hello?
Ah, good and Merlin Peen.
Good and Merlin Peen to you too.
Yeah, so we are talking about the Dave Made a Maze movie, and we are
we're back
George,
again.
And this is all Liz, and we're back 3rd day in a row.
Oh.
It's a day.
Yeah, Curd Street's back. All right.
Almost a week. Curd. I heard that. Remember that on your grave.
Well, that was dark, George.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I took it dark real quick.
You're usually such a sunny disposition.
I am a sunny son of a person.
Beachin.
And I got dark. I went dark, and I apologize for anyone I terrified.
That's not what
maybe had.
That's not what our listeners have come to expect from you.
Well, sometimes you got to shake things up a bit. You can't stay on brand all the time. So, we are back to talk about minute 61 of Dave Made a Maze, sponsored by I Heard That and the Wisconsin Dairy Council.
Also, Vandekam's Pork and Beans.
Oh, yeah, because that's our southern affiliate.
Yeah, we can't leave them out, don't you know?
Actually, I guess if it's Vandekamp, it could also be our South African experience. South African? Is that?
It's close.
It's not right.
It's closer
it's not,
it's closer to the Queen's English. It's closer to a more of a London.
It's all right if I do a South African accent, isn't it?
But that sounds a bit. You've gone a bit New Zealand there, love.
God, well, I have seen a lot of Fly the Concorde. No, and I just went to Irish.
Oh, yes, well, that'll get you. They'll get you every time, them potato lords.
So we're talking about potato lords. Fix me a steaming bowl of mashed potatoes.
Is that the most offensive thing I've ever said?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Well, that might be the most offensive thing I've ever said, you know, and I do apologize.
Oh, jeez, or it could have just been a really, really deep Doctor Who reference.
Oh, jeez, you're right. I was talking about the TARDIS.
Hence my request for mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. That sounds like... Oh, no, that sounds like a... that sounds like a sex act.
Sounds accurate. Hi. Oh, Patty, would you mash potatoes?
Not to the second
Lorraine,
date.
I'll be right into mashed potatoes, but it's just the tip.
That's a...
yeah.
You know, this did go off the rails right away, as promised.
I aim to deliver.
Was it ever on the rails, though?
I aim to deliver with a nice Chianti and some fava beans.
Oh, speaking of beans.
Just sponsored by Van Camp National Pork and Beans from the South. Thank you for. Honestly, I don't. Are they from the South?
I don't.
They're gonna pull.
Do you know?
They're gonna pull their sponsorship when they hear, and I don't even know where they're from.
Do you know they might be disappointed with us, but that's okay. They've been disappointed with us in the past, and we've been able to work through our differences. But I was going to say. Speaking of beans,
you can continue more.
Beans often put me in the mind of peanuts, which takes me to packing peanuts, which takes me to Annie's wig made out of packing peanuts.
It reminds me. It reminds me of the Lords of Parliament and their powdered wigs.
Well, I wouldn't
but this is made of packing peanuts and a scrabble gavel, which is amazing.
And have you seen that gavel has the crossword on it? The crossword puzzle.
Is it a crossword?
It is a crossword puzzle.
Crikey. That's a completely idiomatic, incorrect response, but it's fine.
Do you know? It's fine. It worked for me.
Do you... Elizabeth, let me expound upon a thought I had while we were viewing St. Moritz. Oh, yes. So, do you believe that these costumes that they're wearing, their judge's gear and their clown outfit and the various states,
accoutrement,
how they transition from clothing to paper products? Do you feel that it is a representation of the masks that people wear to hide their true selves and true intentions from the world and from those who care about them? And so they cover up their problems and their issues with bland banalities and chit-chat instead of opening up and being honest about their feelings. So as they shift from actual clothings to paper products to packing peanuts and Scrabble gabbles and so on, do you feel that this is a progression of seeing through the artifice of the bullshit?
Do you know, George? Well, I know. One thing I know. You wanted to make sure you got to say Scrabble gavel, and you did. Very nicely done.
I do believe I said Scrabble multiple times.
Very nicely done.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, I know you are not sorry. So
No.
I
Shame is for the weak.
Oh, see. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said. I have never agreed with you more. But now I don't remember what you said. I do remember that I agreed with it, and I thought you sounded very smart.
Well, as long as you agree, that is all I ever wish.
My approval. You always seek my approval.
Well,
I know. It's okay.
C'est bon. Yeah, you approve that, yes.
When you're neat, effective at cheese, you're looking further than the cheesemonger. Hi-ho there! This here's the cheesemonger coming at you with your daily I Heard That Cheese fact. I'm coming at you live from... where are we again? It's outside Turin, which you've probably heard of. There's a famous shroud from here. But that shroud don't got nothing on a good cheesecloth if you ask me. But anyway, I'm over here in Italy, flew out late Friday night. The Festival Internazionale del Formaggio, trying out some nice European cheeses. I picked up a delicious gorgonzola and a burrata that was, as they say, to die for. I might have to get some more of that to sneak through customs back home. Since we're in Italy, it's time to talk about casu marzu. Listeners with sensitive ears, sensitive stomachs, or sensitive stomach ears, you might want to skip ahead a couple, 2-3 minutes. Oh, you know how you know when casu marzu is safe to eat? Safe being relative and all. The maggots on it are still alive. You heard me right. If the maggots have died, the cheese is no good. But be warned, I heard that, listeners. You might want to keep one hand between your eyes and the cheese, which you might spread on a nice Sardinian flatbread. Or you wear goggles. Remember, as my ma used to say, a good Swiss Army knife and a pair of goggles never did no one wrong. The reason you gotta protect your eyes is that the maggots, well, they leap. If you don't want to wear goggles, or you only got one hand like my cousin Sam, then you put the cheese in a nice sealed paper bag before you're ready to eat it, and the maggots suffocate. And I've heard that their desperate leaping creates a lovely pitter-patter against the bag, and when the pitter-patter is done, eat up! You should know that casu marzu is outlawed in the EU, and you're probably not going to find any here in the States. I heard a rumor there's a guy over Happy Wanderer Way that makes some, but I have yet to confirm, and I don't want to say his name here on the podcast, you know? Anyway, I'm putting together a detailed report on the festival for later this week, but barring poor landing conditions, I might be back home in McCord in time for tomorrow's daily I Heard That Cheese fact. This has been the Cheesemonger. Enjoy the rest of Dave, well, a minute. Back to you, George and Liz.
Cheese, glorious cheese. Tastes mighty and
When you're neat, effective at cheese, you're looking further than the cheesemonger.
enjoy cheese, marvelous cheese, wonderful cheese, glorious cheese.
So we're looking at these packing peanuts on these people's heads, and it's some symbolism and shit.
I think there might be. I think I might have picked up on some additional symbolism in this costume.
Oh yeah, go right ahead there.
So we've got Dave here dressed up as a cardboard clown, and we've got his girlfriend Annie.
He is a silly man.
And we've got his girlfriend Annie dressed up as a cardboard judge. And I think we might be able to
passing judgment on his silliness.
I think we might be able to assess some of their relationship struggles. In that Dave here, he might act like a bit of a man-child, a bit of a goofball, a bit of a a layabout. And then there's
Shiftless, ne'er-do-well piece of possum crap.
Oh, just like my pa. And we got there. And we got Annie over here, and she's just passing judgment. And so, whose point of view do you think these costumes get assigned from? Do you think it is from Dave's point of view? Or do you think these are both of them examining how they look to the other?
I feel like it might be assessed by the audience, because we are the ones seeing their dynamic and how they shift, and we are what we are observing is the exterior manifestations of their own confliction. That's a word.
Their own
that they are
confliction.
expressing.
Do you know that was a clothing line I never got into?
Confliction? That sounds like something you buy at the Hot Topic. Goddamn pigs got out again. What the... Elizabeth, you need to learn to latch your hog waller.
I have got to get a new latch on that gate.
It is busted.
It is
busted.
Oh, but they'll be back. It's fine.
Yeah, you just throw out some corn. They'll come back
It's
real
fine.
quick.
I own, my family, we own all this land around here. These pigs not going nowhere.
You get them there shot collars on them where you turn it up to 11 at one point, then all of a sudden you got
then you
bacon.
just got that bacon. That's what they call that real fresh bacon.
Yeah.
Shaking
like,
bacon.
can you smell what the rock is? Can you smell what the rock is baking?
Oh,
I can.
Oh, I can.
It's called electric pork.
Mm-hmm. Find my roadside stand.
I'd pull my pickup truck to that any day.
And we would fill you
I'd back it up. I'd be backing up like beep 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 beep. Hey there, y'all! Won't you load up my bed full of your electrified pulled
y'all,
pork?
George is here for his swine delivery. He's got that electric bacon look in his eyes.
Oh, it is a lustful look.
Oh, speaking of lustful. If you want to speak of lustful looks, we best get on back to this minute here.
Listen, it ain't Sunday. We can talk about lust all you want to.
Well, there's some lust happening in this minute. We get this room, it turns all purple, and you know what purple means. And there's just the one candle.
I'm pretty sure that in movie symbolism, purple represents vaginas.
It's about to go down.
Do you think they are about to go down? Because they're sitting on opposites of this table, and unless one of them ducks under and don't bump their head or nothing, then I don't know what's going on. Well, how did I go back to Southern accent? Okay.
I don't know. But...
So it's just natural. I just let it come out of me. It just springs eternal like hope from a soul.
Ya.
Whew. So yes. So, geez, yeah, I don't know if they're going to do with their sexual tension that's building here because they've shifted from coffee to alcohol like within literal minutes.
Hedonistic.
They're changing clothes, they're judging, they're going from clothing to paper products. I'm not sure what happens now, but they're definitely going to be keeping themselves warm in an ice fishing shed, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I do know what you mean. And I think
he's about to take a saw and drill down into her ice hole and drop his rod in there.
Okay. That was a metaphor.
It was, and that's how I got a brother.
Oh, okay.
It is both a metaphor and is a literal thing that happened.
And a brother for.
Excuse me there. That's my kind of evil laugh. I do it sometimes when I'm feeling a little dark in the middle of the winter here. Looking to take a soul with me down to the bottom of the lake.
Things get get a bit punchy up here in the dark, cold north.
Oh, geez, yeah, because it gets up there with the northern lights, and they're coming down and looking at you like X-ray beams from God himself, and it's a
call from God himself.
From God. God's looking down on you going, oh, you're
you
terrible
done it again, George.
You're terrible Episcopalians. Your ice fishing holes need to be bigger. And you can't fish for Jesus with a hole that small. I have a t-shirt that says that.
I've heard that before. You can't fish for Jesus with a hole that small. I do know that we used to sing that in Sunday school.
You can't fish for Jesus with a hole that small. No matter how hard you try. You need an axe that is big and tall to make that fish hole wide.
So do you know? It seems like the maze. The maze might be reacting a bit to the sexual tension in the room, because it starts to shake and get a bit bothered. The maze seems like it might be a bit bothered.
Yeah, it's a little. It's like. Oh wait. By the way, I made a cardboard. If you get all goopy and wet in me, I'll fall apart. This is a defense mechanism. So you can't get all squelchy in me because I'm a paper maze, mate. That's right, folks. Keep an eye out for merchandise coming down the road.
Keep an eye on. I heard that on Twitter. I heard that, and we'll share links. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to Twitter right now and claiming I heard that.
You can't fish for Jesus with a hole that small. You must widen it with your smile and your flat vowel sounds. Yeah, so the light shift in a lovely way, and it's like this deep purpley pinky, almost a puce, almost because of the brown of the cardboard lends to the color of the lights and make it sort of like a puce.
A puce.
Puce color. A puce, pop that pucey, if you will, because that is the undertones that is leaning in such a way.
The Leaning Tower of
yes,
Pusa.
Penis? Most of them do lean, Elizabeth. It's a anthropological fact.
Trust me, I know.
Anatomical fact. They lean.
I am aware.
Left, right, curve, up, down, inquisitively almost, or derogatorily, depending on the owner.
Okay. Now, do you know, we've got I heard that on Twitter.
So feel free to tweet us, at us, or compliment us on I heard that. Sorry, at I heard that. The balance is problematic.
I don't understand the Twitter either. It's okay.
Oh, you're a bunch of twits.
You bunch of twats.
Is that twats? Twat, did you say? Elizabeth, do you have anything else to add for the moment?
Do you know, I don't think I do, George. I don't think I do.
You talked about products, paper and otherwise, clothes, rampant symbolism, colorful vagina metaphors, and I believe that's it.
Oh, who could forget the vagina metaphors?
Cuckoo-ca-choo.
Ba-do-ba-do. So, listeners, this has been another delightful, I'm going to use that adjective, delightful, episode of I Heard That, guest hosting, Dave Made a Minute. So, you want to follow.
We did it.
You want to follow it.
Follow us on Twitter at I Heard That, and send us photographs of maybe some explicit nature, because now Tumblr is no longer allowing them.
But not of your own junk, please.
Not of your junk, but if it's someone else's junk, that's okay.
But if it's interesting looking.
It has to be fast. It has to be leaning.
Make it have a personality.
Yes. Interrogatory, not derogatory. Only interrogatory junk.
And come back for one more day with us tomorrow in this terrifying hellscape of cardboard on... I Could That?
Dave
Are we going to
Made
do...
a Minute.
Oh, no, not in unison
I
today.
could that.
I Could That.
Bollocks.
And then I could probably disarm all the traps. And then we could finish this maze. Who is with me?
That was Liz Whitaker and George Hendricks of I Heard That, taking on minute 61 of Dave Made a Maze. They will be back next time on Dave Made a Minute, taking on minute 62.
Thank you for listening to Dave Made a Minute. Intro dialogue snippets were taken from Dave Made a Maze, directed by Bill Watterson, written by Bill Watterson and Steve Sears, and produced by John Charles Meyer. Intro music is Diversion by The Equals, featured in the film Dave Made a Maze, and Life Cycle of a Match by Parvis Decree. Outro music is Leaving This Godforsaken Place and Her Presence is Strong Here by Parvis Decree. Dave Made a Minute is a production of Lemming Drop Studio and all other featured podcast producers. You can find more content at lemmingdrops.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Dave Made a Minute. If you like what you hear, throw us a rating and review on your podcatcher of choice, and check out all of the participants' other shows to spread the love around. Again, thank you for listening.
As long as we're all working together, this is going to be fine. It's going to be great.
I need you to notify the families of everyone who died here today.
Totally. Wait, what?
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.